The Return to Ashwood Manor. Part 1. It had been months since Claire Bennett's chilling night at Ashwood Manor. The memories still haunted her dreams, leaving her waking in cold sweats. Despite the fear, her article about the manor had gained significant attention, sparking debates and curiosity among her readers. Claire had vowed never to return, but fate had other plans. One rainy afternoon, as the sky darkened with storm clouds, Claire received a mysterious package. There was no return address, just her name scrawled in elegant handwriting. Intrigued and slightly unnerved, she opened it to find an old leather-bound journal and a letter. The letter, written in the same elegant script, read, "Dear Ms. Bennett, I read your article about Ashwood Manor and was moved by your bravery. The journal you now hold belongs to Eliza Ashwood, and it contains secrets that were never revealed. I implore you to return to the manor and uncover the truth. You are not alone in this journey. Trust in those who wish to help you. Sincerely, a friend." Claire's hands trembled as she turned the pages of Eliza's journal. It detailed more of Thomas Ashwood's dark rituals, hinting at a hidden room in the manor where his most sinister acts took place. The final entry mentioned a key hidden in the manor's library. Despite her fear, Claire felt a renewed sense of purpose. She couldn't ignore this new lead. She contacted Sam, a fellow journalist and friend who specialized in paranormal investigations. When she told him about the package, he agreed to accompany her back to Ashwood Manor. The drive to the manor was somber, the sky overcast and rain pattering against the car windows. Sam tried to lighten the mood with jokes, but Claire's mind was focused on the task ahead. As they approached the manor, the familiar sense of dread settled over her. They parked at the edge of the forest, the manor's dark silhouette looming in the distance. With flashlights and gear in hand, they made their way to the entrance. The heavy wooden door creaked open, and they stepped into the grand foyer. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the silence was deafening. Sam set up cameras in strategic locations while Claire retraced her steps to the library. She found the old journal on the dusty desk where she had left it. With Sam's help, they began searching for the hidden key. Hours passed with no success. Frustration was setting in when Claire's flashlight beam caught a glint behind a row of books. She reached in and pulled out a small, ornate key. Eliza's journal mentioned a room behind the grand fireplace in the dining room. Heart pounding, Claire led Sam to the dining room, where the table was still set as if awaiting guests. They examined the grand fireplace, looking for any hidden mechanism. After a thorough search, Sam found a loose brick that, when pressed, revealed a small keyhole. Claire inserted the key and turned it. With a grinding noise, the fireplace slid aside, revealing a dark passageway. The air inside the passage was colder than the rest of the manor, and the walls were damp. They descended a narrow staircase that seemed to spiral into the depths of the manor. At the bottom, they found a heavy wooden door. Claire hesitated, then pushed it open. The room beyond was a stark contrast to the decaying manor above. It was meticulously preserved, with shelves lined with ancient tomes and strange artifacts. In the center of the room was a large circular symbol etched into the floor, surrounded by candles. "Thomas's ritual room," Claire whispered. The sight sent a shiver down her spine. They began to explore, documenting everything. Sam found a stack of letters on a desk, each one detailing Thomas's descent into madness and his attempts to summon dark entities. Claire's eyes were drawn to a large leather-bound book on a pedestal. She opened it to find detailed instructions for summoning rituals, including one that required a human sacrifice. "Eliza must have stopped him before he could complete this," Claire said, her voice trembling. Suddenly, the temperature in the room dropped further, and the candles flickered. A deep, guttural growl echoed through the room, sending a wave of terror through Claire. She turned to see a shadowy figure emerging from the darkness, its eyes glowing with malevolence. "It's him," Sam whispered, backing away. The figure moved towards them, its form shifting and contorting. Claire and Sam stumbled back, but the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The room seemed to close in around them as the entity advanced. "Stay together," Claire said, trying to keep her voice steady. "We need to find a way to banish it." They frantically searched through the ritual book, looking for any clue on how to stop the entity. The growling grew louder, and the air became oppressive. Claire's eyes fell on a passage about dispelling dark spirits. but it required a specific incantation and a symbol drawn in blood. "We have to try it," she said, grabbing a piece of chalk from the desk. With shaking hands, she drew the symbol on the floor, following the instructions precisely. Sam began reading the incantation, his voice trembling. The entity roared in anger, its form becoming more solid and terrifying. As the incantation reached its climax, the candles flared brightly, and the symbol on the floor began to glow. The entity screamed, a sound that pierced through Claire's soul. It writhed and contorted, then suddenly it was gone. The room fell silent, the oppressive air lifting. Claire and Sam collapsed to the floor, breathing heavily. They had done it. They had banished the entity. They spent the next hour documenting everything in the room, ensuring they had all the evidence needed to tell the full story. When they finally emerged from the passageway, the manor seemed less ominous, as if a weight had been lifted. As they left Ashwood Manor behind, Claire felt a sense of closure. She had faced the darkness and uncovered the truth. But she knew there were more stories to tell, more mysteries to uncover. The next morning, Claire sat at her desk, ready to write the sequel to her first article. She knew it would be the most compelling story yet, a testament to the horrors she had faced and the strength it took to overcome them. And as she began to type, she felt a sense of purpose. The dark secrets of Ashwood Manor had been revealed, and she was ready to share them with the world. Part 2. The Final Revelation. In the days following their harrowing return to Ashwood Manor, Claire and Sam worked tirelessly to piece together the evidence they had gathered. The journal entries, the ritual book, and the photographs of the hidden room painted a chilling picture of Thomas Ashwood's descent into darkness and his ultimate goal: to become a vessel for an ancient, malevolent entity. Their story quickly gained traction, drawing the attention of paranormal enthusiasts and skeptics alike. But as the public's interest grew, so did the danger surrounding Claire and Sam. They began receiving ominous messages, and strange occurrences plagued their homes. Whispers in the night, objects moving on their own, and shadows lurking just out of sight. Claire knew they had to dig deeper. The final journal entries hinted at a powerful relic that Thomas had used to communicate with the entity. If they could find it, they might be able to understand how to put an end to the hauntings once and for all. They decided to return to Ashwood Manor one last time. This time, they brought along a trusted paranormal investigator, Dr. Evelyn Hart, who had extensive experience with ancient rituals and artifacts. Armed with new equipment and a renewed sense of determination, they set out to uncover the final secrets of the manor. As they approached the manor, the air grew heavy with anticipation. The storm clouds that had threatened rain now unleashed a torrential downpour, adding to the sense of foreboding. They entered the manor and headed straight for the hidden room where they had last faced the entity. Dr. Hart examined the ritual room carefully. "This place is a nexus of dark energy," she said, her voice echoing in the chamber. "Whatever Thomas was trying to do, he succeeded in creating a powerful connection to the other side." They began a meticulous search for the relic, combing through the books and artifacts. Hours passed with no sign of it. Just as frustration began to set in, Claire noticed a loose floorboard near the center of the room. She pried it open to reveal a small ornate box. Inside the box was a crystal amulet, its surface etched with ancient symbols. Dr. Hart's eyes widened as she examined it. "This is it. This amulet is the key to Thomas's rituals. It's a conduit for communicating with the entity." The air in the room grew colder, and a sense of dread filled the space. "We need to destroy it," Claire said, her voice firm. "We can't let this power remain." Dr. Hart nodded. "There's a ritual for destroying dark artifacts. We need to perform it here, in the manor." They prepared the ritual, drawing a protective circle on the floor and placing the amulet in the center. Dr. Hart began chanting in a language that felt both ancient and powerful. The candles flickered wildly, and the ground seemed to tremble beneath them. Suddenly, a howling wind filled the room, and the amulet began to glow with an eerie light. The air grew thick with tension, and the entity's presence became palpable, manifesting as a swirling dark mist around the perimeter of the circle. Claire, Sam, and Dr. Hart held hands, focusing all their energy on the ritual. As Dr. Hart's chanting intensified, the amulet's glow became brighter and more volatile. Thunder boomed overhead, mirroring the chaos within the manor. Just as the tension reached its peak, there was a sharp, deafening crack. The amulet shattered, sending shards flying across the room as the dark mist screamed in agony, its form dissipating into the air. The room fell silent, the only sound the heavy rain against the manor's old windows. The oppressive energy that had once filled the space was gone, replaced by a feeling of lightness. Claire, Sam, and Dr. Hart let out collective breaths of relief, their hands still joined in the circle. "We did it," Sam whispered, his voice filled with awe. Dr. Hart nodded, her expression serious but relieved. "The connection has been severed. The entity can no longer influence this world. Thomas Ashwood's dark legacy ends here." Exhausted but elated, the trio packed up their equipment and left the manor for the last time. As they walked through the foyer, Claire felt a sense of closure. The manor, once a place of fear and darkness, now seemed just an old empty house. In the weeks that followed, Claire and Sam published their findings, including the dramatic conclusion of their investigation. The story captivated audiences worldwide, sparking discussions about the paranormal and the dangers of delving too deep into the unknown. Claire continued her work as a journalist, now with a newfound respect for the thin veil between the natural and supernatural worlds. Sam, inspired by their experiences, began studying ancient rituals and artifacts, determined to protect others from the dangers they had faced. Dr. Hart returned to her academic pursuits, her research enriched by the artifacts and experiences from Ashwood Manor. She published several papers on the importance of understanding and respecting ancient rites and the power they hold. As for Ashwood Manor, it was left to decay, a relic of the past, but its legacy lived on in the stories and lessons it had taught those brave enough to face its secrets. Claire often looked back on those days, her experiences at the manor shaping her life in ways she never expected. Years later, Claire would return to Ashwood Manor, not as an investigator, but as a guardian of its history. She purchased the property, intent on preserving it as a monument to the mysteries of the paranormal world and the importance of respecting its power. Ashwood Manor became a center for paranormal research, attracting scholars and enthusiasts eager to learn from its dark past and ensure that its lessons were not forgotten. In the end, the manor was no longer a place of fear, but a beacon of understanding in the shadowy world of the paranormal. Claire's journey had come full circle, and she stood as a testament to the courage and determination required to face the darkness and emerge enlightened.